So continuing with our series on the secret language of home buying, the secret language of real estate, today we're going to talk about the secret language of home buying as it relates to being under contract. So you've done the search. We've talked about the secret language of searching for a home, and you've done the offer writing. So we've done the secret language of writing an offer. Now, what's that secret language of being under contract? What are the terms that you need to know as you go through the terms of your contract to buy a house? The secret language of buying a home, the secret language of being under contract to buy a home. That's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. I'm Sherry Ann Green with Coldwell Banker. Welcome to my YouTube channel that guides home sellers and home buyers in Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. So I've done two in this series already. One was the secret language of home buying, the search. Number two actually, is the secret language of home buying, writing an offer. And today is three, the secret language of home buying, what the terms are that you need to know when you are under contract. So the secret language of real estate, the secret language of home buying, being under contract, that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first important term to know is ratified. What does that mean? When you present an offer to the seller and they accept your contract, whether it's right away or back and forth after some negotiations, you have what is called a ratified contract. That is a contract agreed to by both parties in the real estate transaction. You are moving ahead to closing. Contingency. It's typically a piece of the contract that causes something to be investigated, whether it's your finances or a home inspection. And a contingency allows you a period of time as the buyer or a period of time as the seller to do some due diligence, to do some work, to see if this contract is going to work out. Contingencies can be a variety of different processes inside the home buying process. And one of the most important is our next word, and that's home inspection. So what is a home inspection? That is when you bring in a licensed home inspector and they look at everything related to the house. It could be the windows and the doors. Do they lock and do they close? Do they have any cracks in them? They'll look at the foundation. They'll look at the roof. They'll look at all of the systems related to the house, and they'll help you understand not only how the home works, but if this one is in working order and if there's any current repairs you need to do or any future home maintenance. There's one thing that's really important to know. In a home inspection, you want to look for hazards and safety issues. Cosmetic changes are not what a home inspection is for. The other thing to remember is no matter your price point, no home is perfect. The home inspector will find something. What you have to figure out is if that something is big enough to cause you to stop the contract or big enough to cause you to need to negotiate. So a home inspection is a home inspection by a licensed inspector to take a look at all of the working parts and the frame and structure of your new house. Going along with the term home inspector or home inspection is the word appraisal. And often people get the two of these functions mixed up, or they think they're the same thing. And I actually did a whole video on the home inspection versus the home appraisal, and I'll link that in this video so you can watch it too. But the appraisal is what the lender orders, and it is a third party's opinion of the value of the home. When a lender is giving you a mortgage, which we've talked about in an earlier video, they're taking on risk, they're taking on debt, and hoping that you're going to pay them back. But what if you can't? An appraisal gives the bank an opinion of the value at which the house is worth, a value, a price that they could put that home back on the market and sell it. So your appraisal has to equal or be greater to the amount of risk that your lender is taking. That's what an appraisal is. It's a third party's opinion of the value of the home that you are going to purchase. As you get toward the end of the contract, you'll receive what's called a closing disclosure, and it will first come to you from your lender. And a closing disclosure does just that. It discloses all of the financial pieces of the contract and all of the financial pieces of your purchase. So it will show you your EMD, your down payment. any lender fees that you owe, and it will show you the amount of the loan and any of the other closing costs that you are going to incur on the day that you officially purchase that house. When you get this closing disclosure, make sure you have a discussion with your lender about all of the pieces of it so that you financially understand what you are purchasing, the amount of money that you will need to bring to closing so that you can be prepared. People often confuse our next two terms, title and deed, with one another. They are both legal terms related to the ownership of a property, but they are different, and it is confusing. So when you're under contract, the title company is going to be working on both of these. They are going to do what's called run title or clear title, check the title, and then they're also going to prepare the deed. So if you think about title, title is the ownership to a property. Who has title to that property to use it, to improve it, and to transfer it to someone else? The deed, however, is the legal, physical paper document filed at the courthouse and in your possession that says, I own title to this house. So title and deed go hand in hand, both legal terms related to ownership, but the deed is the physical document you receive, and the title outlines that ownership. So at the end of the contract period on closing day, you will have what are called closing costs. And what are those? Yes, there are a lot of fees and a lot of things you pay for when you purchase a house. And closing costs are the last step in that. So the closing costs can be anything from the title search to transaction costs that your lender may charge you, loan origination fees, points you pay down to get a lower interest rate. It could be shipping costs to ship documents back and forth to you. It could be transfer taxes and transfer stamps that your jurisdiction requires you to pay. It could be a prorated amount of your condo fee that your condo building will require you to pay upfront. So as you get your closing disclosure, which we talked about earlier, make sure you look at all of your closing costs so you understand how much cash you need to close on the day you officially purchase your house. We are almost at the end of the contract period, and one of the last things that happens, one of the last words I want to talk about is walkthrough. And a walkthrough is when you go back through the house, typically the day of or the day before closing, to ensure that the home is in the same condition as agreed to in the contract. You may go through and run the washing machine again and the dishwasher and check the walls and make sure all the doors lock. You're basically confirming that the thing you are purchasing still exists and still exists in the condition that you agreed to so that you can move ahead with closing or with settlement, as we call it. And settlement is our last word. Settlement is the day that you officially buy the house. It can be called the close of escrow. It can be called closing day or closing. Settlement is the day that the money transfers hands, that the house transfers hands, and you become the new owner. It's an exciting day. It's one you want to celebrate. Mark on your calendar. Don't be late. Settlement day is very exciting, and it's the day that that house becomes yours. So one way to think about settlement isn't really closing at all, is it? It's kind of odd that we call it closing day because the truth is, for the buyer, it's starting day. It is the start of your new journey in your new home. Buying a home is a long journey sometimes, and I am here to help. My channel is here to help. Make sure you watch this video next. I think you'll also find it helpful to the home buying process. I've done an entire series on the secret language of home buying. Make sure you watch every single video so you know what to expect during the whole process.